Hello everyone! A lot of you sent in some great questions. I picked my favorites among the ones you rated the best, so here are my answers. What do you think is the best solution for healthcare? I covered in a previous video what we can do immediately without raising taxes one penny. In addition, getting rid of all the corporatist policies such as HMOs, federal licensing, onerous regulations. The healthcare industry is one of the most regulated industries in America, next to the banking industry. Notice that each of these things was purported to be a method of reforming healthcare, and yet it just made the problem worse. What's supremely bogus is that people blame the free market for things like HMOs. But what do these people think the HMO Act was? They kept trying to make HMOs, and they didn't work because no one bought into them. The free market rejected HMOs. It was only government corporatism under the guise of healthcare reform that made them succeed. All of the problems in our healthcare system can be traced back to government intervention. The solution is obvious. You seem like a very strong libertarian. Is there anything you do not agree with in the libertarian platform? Oh, you're opening up that can of worms. For those of you who aren't in the know, a group called the Libertarian Reform Caucus, which from what I can see is mostly disgruntled Republicans, gained enough membership in 2006 that they gutted 80% of the Libertarian Party platform. The platform before them was pretty good. It suffered from the same problems that anything that's been revised for 30 years has, but it was still an excellent description of libertarian policy. They said that watering down our message would help us win elections. As we saw in 2008, that just wasn't the case. So basically, the Libertarian Party platform is in shambles right now. Commenting on it is essentially useless. Who would be your top 5 undersubscribed channels? Good question. There are a lot of undersubscribed channels, but I think for the top 5, I should pick ones that make new videos on a fairly regular basis. So here they are, in alphabetical order. Atheist Blind Chick.
Humanity deserves better than you. Yes, I'm addressing you. All of you who've taken part in flagging campaigns, who vote-botted videos, who've had other users' videos removed because of false DMCA claims, and who've got people suspended.
Chrissy O'Space. Cops say legalize drugs. This is the channel for LEAP, Law Enforcement Against Prohibition.
Beginning of the war on drugs. In 1970, the government said 1.3% of the population is addicted to drugs. Can't have it. Got to start a war on drugs. 36 years later, and $1 trillion and all these lives lost, 1.3% of the population is addicted to drugs.
So if you're on Facebook, please go to or search for the Tank Vodcast.
Read SA. This is Richard Saunders' channel, which includes the Tank Vodcast videos.
Even though we have a lot of fun and frivolity here, we are here about skepticism. So that's what we're trying to do, create a bit of a vibe about it, get a bit of an audience, get a bit of discussion going. Yeah. So the more you can get involved, and the more skepticism gets promoted throughout the globe and beyond.
And beyond.
To the UFOs.
Infinity and beyond, and to the UFOs.
And last but not least, Steph Zula.
Venom Fang X has reopened his YouTube account, removed all his previous videos, and posted a new one called Venom Fang X Farewell and God Bless, announcing his permanent departure from YouTube. I can already guess that this video is chock full of things he's said before in other videos, such as his Venom Fang X Forever, which was made less than a year ago, and also said he was permanently leaving YouTube because of death threats against him. Well, we all know what happened after that, right?
Please explain how libertarians plan to make sure that people devote money to charitable/private forms of Social Security and other important public services. They don't have to. Pretty much every study that's been done on the subject shows that people donate a consistent percentage of their take-home pay to charity. Now remember, in addition to doing away with welfare, as well as an incredible percentage of the rest of federal spending, the tax revenues collected will also drop by a tremendous amount. When you consider that with government welfare programs, you're lucky if 5% of your tax money goes to the people who actually need it, as opposed to 80% or more with private charities, it's easy to see the benefit. In addition to there being no deficit spending and therefore no inflation, there will be over $2 trillion back into the economy. That's more than enough to buy a job for everyone who can work and charity for everyone who cannot. Do you think advertising, propaganda, or any other brainwashing material should be regulated? Only if it constitutes fraud. It shouldn't be regulated because regulations punish everybody, but laws against fraudulent advertising should be there and should be enforced. What is corporatism exactly? Does capitalism lead to corporatism eventually, or is this not the case? Explain why or why not. Corporatism is government favoritism of big corporations at the expense of smaller businesses and individuals. It's not capitalism that leads to corporatism, it's government. How would a private pension system work, and why would it be better than a government system? I covered that in my video on Social Security. What are your views on GMOs and other form of biotechnology? Well, I'm for it. Come on, we've been genetically modifying plants and animals for thousands of years. Why do you think we have corn to eat and dogs and cats to keep as pets? The only difference is that now it's not being done in a haphazard way. When should freedom of speech be limited and why, such as fraud, lying about others, exposing private information about others, etc.? It should be limited when it becomes an initiation of force or fraud. So like you said, fraud, slander, libel, etc. All of these things damage others directly and in many cases even quantifiably. Do you agree with male circumcision? Do parents have a right to modify the bodies of their babies? No and yes. Genital mutilation is genital mutilation, but the solution is not government prohibition, which never works. It looks like the information about circumcision, as well as the debunking of all of the myths on the pro side, is gaining awareness. That, if anything, will solve the problem. Do you think having a single world government would be beneficial or detrimental for humanity? Absolutely detrimental. If there's one thing the American experiment has shown us, it's that even when you have a constitution that is clear as a bell on the limitations of government, you can't stop government from growing. A single world government would inevitably lead to a single world tyranny. Government works best when it's local. That's what I keep trying to explain to people from Sweden or wherever when they say, well, socialized medicine works here. Come on, we have states bigger than Sweden. Sweden has about the same population of my home state of North Carolina. What do you think of licensing in general? Does licensing take what is typically considered a right and turn it into a privilege? That's exactly what it does. Should drivers be licensed by the government? Absolutely not. Have you seen the kind of idiots the government gives driving licenses to? How about doctors, hairdressers, marriages? Can the standards of those licensed activities be raised by the practice of licensing? And how can those standards be assured without licensing? They aren't raised by licensing, only corporatized. I'd much rather be in a country where doctors are certified by, say, the AMA, and if the AMA doesn't do such a good job, a competitor will come in and certify them, because then I have a choice. If I don't trust the AMA certification, I look for a certification body I do trust, just like with UL and its competitors with electronic devices. With licensing, what the hell do I do if I don't trust government bureaucrats? What can be done to break the false dichotomy of Democrats versus Republicans that exists in the minds of the American people? If I knew, I'd be doing it. What is your position on global warming? What is my position on global warming? I'm for it! I think Montana's going to be pretty with palm trees. This is another stupid question. What's your position on gravity? What's your position on germ theory? Do you think creationist frontmen like Kent Hovind act by a will of good, or do you think they are well aware of their bogosity? And or do you think there is an agenda? Oh no, they're fully aware of it. Do you think no one has corrected Ken Ham about so-called polystrate fossils? And don't think that Kent Hovind hasn't seen scientist after scientist mix hydroquinone and hydrogen peroxide together to show that they don't explode. And of course they have an agenda. The agenda of the creationists is theocracy. Nothing more, nothing less. Really, if you think about it, it's a form of slavery. The misinformation that creationism represents shackles the mind just as surely as chains shackle the body.